Please take your seats. Please take your seats. The members of the authority will be entering the hall presently. Please take your seats. Kindly take your seats. Also, kindly place your mobile phones on silent at this time. Please take your seats. Thank you. Kindly remain standing as Their Excellencies, the members of the authority, take their places. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the ECOWAS anthem. Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, dear participants, please be seated. Your Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, Chair of the Authority of Heads of State and Government of the Economic Community of West African States, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and host of this august assembly. Your Excellencies, members of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, Your Excellency Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and ECOWAS mediator for the Republic of Mali, Your Excellency Dr. Omar Aliyu Toure, President of the ECOWAS Commission, Your Excellency Mr. Leonardo Santos Simão, Special Representative of the United Nations Secretary General, Head of the UN Office for West Africa and the Sahel. Your Excellency Mr. Abdoulaye Diop, President of the UN World Commission. Honorable Ministers, members of the ECOWAS Council of Ministers. Honorable Ministers accompanying the heads of state. Your Excellency Dr. Mohamed Ibn Chambas, Chairperson of the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme and Task Force and former President of the ECOWAS Commission. Distinguished heads of ECOWAS institutions. Your Excellency Madam Damtien Chinchimbida, Vice President of the ECOWAS Commission. Your Excellency Ambassador Bankole Adeoye, Commissioner Political Affairs, Peace and Security, representing His Excellency Musa Faki, President of the AU Commission. Honorable Commissioners of the ECOWAS Commission, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished invited guests, staff of community institutions, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Fourth Estate, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 64th Ordinary Session of the Authority of Heads of States and Government of the Economic Community of West African States. This is the opening ceremony. During the opening ceremony, it will be our pleasure to have the statement by His Excellency, Dr. Omar Alieu Toure, President of the ECOWAS Commission. We then will be honored to have the welcome and opening statement by His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, Chair of the Authority and President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This will be followed by a statement by His Excellency Dr. Leonardo Santos Simão, Special Representative of the UN Secretary General for West Africa and the Sahel. We will also have a message delivered on behalf of His Excellency, the President of the AU Commission, Musa Faki, delivered by Honorable Commissioner Bankole Adeoye. Without further ado, therefore, it is my pleasure to give the floor to His Excellency, Dr. Omar Alieu Toure, President of the ECOWAS Commission, for his statement. Thank you.
Your Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Chair of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government of ECOWAS, Honorable Ministers of ECOWAS, Your Excellency, Special Representative of the United Nations Secretary General for West Africa and the Sahel, Excellencies, the Vice President of ECOWAS Commission and Heads of ECOWAS institutions, Honorable Commissioners of ECOWAS and the African Union, distinguished high-level visitors from our partner countries and institutions, Excellency, Chair of the ETLS Task Force, members of the ECOWAS Permanent Representatives Committee, ECOWAS resident representatives, Diplomatic Corps, staff of ECOWAS institutions, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the management and staff of ECOWAS institutions, I welcome you to the 64th Ordinary Session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government. I salute His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President and Head of State of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for his leadership and commitment. In the same vein, we remain appreciative to the government and the people of Nigeria for the legendary hospitality and generosity to ECOWAS and ECOWAS institutions. Excellencies, this is the fourth full summit you have had in a space of 6 months. If the frequency of the summits point to challenges in the region, it is also indicative of your resilience and commitment to rise up to those challenges as leaders who remain faithful to the service of our people. Excellencies, distinguished guests, in the last few days, the Mediation and Security Council and the Council of Ministers met to deliberate on several issues concerning the community. The reports of these sessions show the formidable nature of the challenges the region faces, but they also show hope. That hope is epitomized by sound socio-economic policies that you, our leaders, have put in place across the region, and the general commitment to democracy as well as to peace and security. The peaceful elections that ECOWAS has supported in Nigeria, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, and Liberia are to be situated in this context. These elections and those before it, these elections and those before them, have all shattered the narrative that political change in Africa is possible only through military coup. In this regard, Excellencies, allow me to reiterate our congratulations to the people and the government of Liberia for the peaceful conduct of the 2023 presidential and legislative elections. Indeed, ECOWAS congratulates Ambassador Joseph Boakai on his election as President of Liberia. But more specifically, ECOWAS salutes President George Weah for his statesmanship and leadership.
May we, at this stage, please give him a standing ovation.
In the same vein, I wish to take this opportunity to pay tribute to President Macky Sall of the Republic of Senegal, who has decided not to run for another term. President Sall's decision not to run for another term and the concession by President Weah, as I have said, all disprove the narrative that political change in Africa is possible only through military coup. In Sierra Leone, we were reassured by the signature of the Agreement for National Unity between the government and the opposition All People's Congress, which ended the political stalemate in that country. Excellencies, these positive developments have been albeit overshadowed by undesirable disturbances in the region. Disturbances such as the attempted coup d'etat in Niger, in Sierra Leone, and the recent violence in Guinea-Bissau. We have maintained our firm stance on zero tolerance to unconstitutional change of government in our community. Despite pressures from different quarters, we have kept up with your decision on the Republic of Niger and engage on the terms that you set out for us. The military authorities have unfortunately shown little remorse as they hold onto their untenable positions, holding not only President Bazoum, his family and members of his government hostage, but also the people of Niger. We are aware of the dire humanitarian situation in Niger. And in line with the provisions of our community texts, we granted humanitarian access to medical and humanitarian goods for the sake of the people. But reports from humanitarian agencies show that the military authorities have been interfering with the flow, easy access of humanitarian support. Excellencies, as we monitor the implementation of the sanctions, we note with satisfaction the courage and determination of your governments to effectively apply the sanctions. We note that some political actors and groups in the region have been misrepresenting issues around the sanctions to score political points. Your firm and unambiguous commitment to the principles and values of our community remain salutary. We are also grateful to our partners, the United Nations, the African Union, European Union, the United States, and many financial institutions and others for standing by your decisions on the sanctions and for their support. Despite the successful application of the sanctions, we observed with concern some breaches of the sanctions, including massive movement of physical cash by individuals across the borders. Excellencies, regarding the countries under transition, after a moment of progress such as the referendum on a new constitution in Mali, the inauguration of some consultative committees and organs, we have noticed a near pause in the implementation of the agreed transition timetable for some time now. Since the decision of the extraordinary session of the authority in Addis Ababa in February 2023, the transition authorities have united in their stance to cease any collaboration with ECOWAS on the implementation of the agreed timetable. Excellencies, during this session, you will receive full briefing on the political and security situation in the regions, as well as reports and briefings on the economic and monetary integration of our community. Let me acknowledge the continued support of our development partners, with whom in recent times we'd signed several financing agreements, including, for example, the 7 simplified financial agreements with the European Union, covering the areas of trade, migration, energy, and agriculture, amounted to 212 million euros. Excellencies, political stability, peace, and security remain critical for our region. The flow of foreign capital and intra-regional trade and investment have been affected by the risk rating of our region. We are challenged to improve the business environment in our communities, to take advantage of the growing interest of investors in our community. We have made the development of regional infrastructure and business-friendly policies a cornerstone of our integration. It is in this context that on 17th November 2023, we commissioned the International Coordination Center of the West Africa Power Pool in Benin, in the Republic of Benin, which now enables trade in electricity across our region. Excellencies, allow me to conclude by highlighting the situation of the community levy, which is the lifeline of the community institutions and integration. As you would recall, a levy of 0.5% on imports from outside the community is being collected by member states on behalf of ECOWAS. However, for some time now, access to these funds have been a challenge. This has led to low resource mobilization. The situation is more critical now that our member states under sanctions have stopped remitting the levy. As the financial situation gets more difficult, the tasks for ECOWAS continue to grow. I have been compelled to bring this matter to your attention because we have the community's action plan against terrorism to implement, peacekeeping missions to sustain, vital integration programs to finance, transitions in member states under military rule to support, and various socio-economic and humanitarian problems to tackle. I am confident that your excellencies will give full support to our efforts to access funds that the national customs authorities have collected on behalf of the ECOWAS community. I thank you for your attention.
We thank His Excellency Dr. Omar Aliyu Toure, President of the ECOWAS Commission, for his statement. It is now my pleasure and honor to respectfully call on His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, Chair of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to pronounce his welcome and opening statement. Thank you.
Your Excellencies and their colleagues, Head of State and Government of ECOWAS member states, the President of the African Union Commission as represented, the President of the ECOWAS Commission, the Special Representative of the United Nations General and Head of the United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel, Honorable Ministers and members of the ECOWAS Council of Ministers, members of diplomatic corps, esteemed head of ECOWAS institutions and commissioners, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is another moment of joy for me to welcome you to Abuja on the occasion of the 64th ordinary session of the Authority of Head of State and Government of the Economic Community of West African States, the ECOWAS. This summit is taking place at a very significant moment in our sub-region. Not just in our region alone, but globally. We are confronted with the challenge of democratic consolidation, economic difficulties, climate change crisis, and food insecurity, among others. Our gathering here today is therefore a clear demonstration of our resolute commitment to develop and promote effective integration of our sub-region. As a people, we aspire to create a borderless, peaceful, prosperous, and cohesive region, but on good governance and the rule of law, where people will have the opportunity to realize their full potential for sustainable development. Indeed, the collective commitment of our respective member states to ECOWAS objective has carved a niche for the organization. It has also earned ECOWAS international recognition for not only facilitating political stability, but also contributing significantly to peace and security in the region. Permit me to emphasize that security in the region is the focal point And we must achieve this regardless of other commitments. This is why the region, as far back as 2001, recognized democracy as the only form of governance capable of fostering development, inclusiveness, and social well-being of our people. It was on this basis that the West African region became the first to take part in the continent to fully embrace democratization by establishing comprehensive framework with legal protocols that emphasize respect for democracy, good governance, human rights, and rule of law. Allow me to emphasize that to further strengthen our regional democratic achievements and uphold the rights of our people to elect the leaders of their choice, the region agreed upon specific measures to be taken against any member state opting for unconstitutional change of government. While the imposition of punitive sanctions may pose challenges, it is important to underscore that the struggle to protect the fundamental liberties of our community, citizens, must be upheld and respected. To this end, I would like to reiterate the imperative of the regions to continue to re-engage under the military rule and basis of realistic and short transition plan that can deliver democracy and good governance. No alternative. On our part, we should be prepared to provide them with technical and material support to ensure the achievement of these strategic goals. Let me also underscore the need for us as leaders to prioritize good governance for our people, as it serves as a catalyst for socio-economic transformation and development. The delivery of good governance is not just a fundamental commitment, it's also an avenue to address the concerns of our citizens, such as improved quality of life and a stable environment conducive to the achievement of sustainable development. By providing good governance that tackles the challenges of poverty, inequality, and other concerns of the people, we will have succeeded in addressing some of the root causes of military intervention in civilian process in our region. Excellencies, head of states, government, distinguished guests, it is important that we also review some development in our sub-region, including the move by some of our members under military rule to float an alliance of Sahel states. The Phantom Pushback Alliance appears intended to divert our attention from our mutual belief for democracy and good governance that will impact the life of our people. We refuse to be detracted from pursuing the collective dreams, aspirations, and the noble path of ECOWAS integration as it is laid out in our institutional and legal frameworks. I take this opportunity to also emphasize that despite the numerous challenges facing our region, ECOWAS has achieved significant milestones for the betterment of our community citizens. ECOWAS activities have always been people-oriented, with a view to raising the living standard of our people. We have to do that through good governance. ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme, ETLS, we have also witnessed the rapid humanitarian intervention to assist communities affected by armed conflict or natural disasters. In this regard, I wish to call for the increased support in the area of humanitarian assistance through multilateral and bilateral means, as well as through public-spirited individuals, as ECOWAS, as an organization, cannot do this alone. Notwithstanding this notable achievement, a significant portion of our people continue to face the challenge of poverty and widespread unemployment. There is therefore need for us to harness the potential of our rich natural and human resources, diverse agricultural sector, and burgeoning youthful population for the prosperity of our people. Indeed, the collective market of ECOWAS member states represent huge opportunity for trade and investment to unlock the region's full economic potential. Your Excellencies, Head of State and Government, distinguished guests, I would also like to seize this opportunity to commend and extend my heartfelt congratulations to the people of the Republic of Liberia for the successful conduct of the presidential election, widely adjudged to be free, fair, and credible. Let me also commend my brother and colleague, His Excellency George Weah, for his exemplary leadership and conduct throughout the electoral process. By conceding defeat and congratulating his opponent, President Weah has left a legacy to be emulated by politicians in our region and beyond. I'm glad President Jonathan, former President Jonathan, is also present here. I express gratitude for his significant contribution to the organization and wish him the very best in all future endeavors. On the recent disturbances in Syria alone and Guinea-Bissau, we must pay attention to protect the institution and protect democracy. I wish to underscore the fact that we stand against unconstitutional change of government in our sub-region, and we will continue to do so. I therefore urge all of us to stand strong and highly committed in the face of any challenge in Syria alone and Guinea-Bissau. The message must go down clearly that we will support a democratically elected government, not unconstitutional exercises without let of hindrance. Democracy must win if we fight for it. And we will definitely fight for democracy. Your Excellencies, during this 64th ordinary session, we will consider, as always, several issues, reports, and memoranda affecting critical areas and agenda of the community. I urge us to carefully consider the issue to be presented to us and make concrete and far-reaching decisions for the benefit of our community. Once again, the re-elected President of Sierra Leone is present here. We are saying loud and clear that we are with you. And as I conclude, I thank you all for coming to this summit. I wish all of us a successful and fruitful deliberations, as well as a pleasant stay in Abuja. Enjoy yourself. Thank you.
We thank His Excellency, the Chair of the Authority, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for his warm welcome. É com muito prazer que eu convido agora Sua Excelência Dr. Leonardo Santos Simão, representante especial do Secretário-Geral das Nações Unidas para a África Ocidental e o Sahel, a pronunciar a sua declaração. Obrigada.
Muito obrigada, Senhora Mestre de Cerimônia. Your Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Chairperson of ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government of ECOWAS Member States, Your Excellency Ambassador Bankole, Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security of the African Union, in representation of the President of the African Union, Your Excellency Omar Aliou Touré, President of the ECOWAS Commission, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to take part in this 54th ordinary session of the authorities of heads of state and government of ECOWAS. It is also my pleasure to convey warm greetings from the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres, who follows developments in the sub-region with great interest. Since your last ordinary session held in Bissau in July, the situation in Niger arguably remains the most concerning political security development, which has impacted peace and security in the Sahel with implications for the entire region. The standoff between the military leaders in Niger and several partners, particularly ECOWAS, have significantly increased the challenges facing the populations of the country. This at a time when MINUSMA is withdrawing from Mali by the end of this month, adding to the volatile security situation in the entire region. The developments also portend an uncertain future for the return of constitutional rule in all countries of our region currently undergoing political transitions. In this very challenging context, the agencies, programs, and funds of the United Nations system have continued to put utmost efforts to deliver to a growing population in need. United Nations country teams on the ground are adjusting to continue to be able to stay and deliver. For example, in Burkina Faso, a United Nations Interim Development Action Plan was developed. However, our colleagues are facing important challenges. Life-saving humanitarian work is increasingly difficult increasingly difficult due to shrinking humanitarian space and access challenges. The United Nations are targeted in misinformation campaigns which expose our staff to significant risks. All our work is impacted by the current geopolitical and regional tensions. In order to find a sustainable solution to these challenges, we strongly believe that all channels of communication needed to be kept open with the concerned member states. UNOWAS remains committed to support efforts by ECOWAS and other partners, such as the AU, to foster dialogue and engagement with transitional countries for a return to constitutional order. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, recent reports of security breaches in Guinea-Bissau and Sierra Leone, which were both on trajectory of consolidation of peace, illustrate the fragile nature of peace in many countries in the sub-region. The events are also a reminder of the imperious necessity to build consensus around key political and security issues through regular and inclusive dialogue. More efforts are also required to address economic issues such as the inequitable distribution of resources, in unemployment, especially among the youth, and other forms of socio-economic marginalization of the vulnerable, including women. Mesdames et Messieurs, au moment où nous vous parlons, la violence met en danger non seulement la vie des enfants en Afrique de l'Ouest et du Sahel, mais aussi l'éducation de toute une génération d'enfants. Des milliers d'écoles ont été fermées, attaquées par les groupes armés ou utilisées par les forces de défense, perturbant l'éducation des millions de futurs citoyens actifs, des décideurs potentiels qui se retrouveront sans les capacités nécessaires pour participer de manière productive aux institutions dans leur pays. Il est donc urgent d'agir. Si nous n'investissions pas maintenant dans des écoles sûres, nous devrons investir pour faire face aux conséquences d'une telle nation qui générera encore plus d'instabilité et de conflits. Il est crucial d'introduire des réformes dans l'éducation et la formation professionnelle pour garantir l'adéquation entre les savoirs et les marchés du travail. Les Nations Unies encouragent les efforts en cours dans plusieurs pays pour l'accès équitable à une éducation de qualité. En outre, allouer un budget national à la mise en œuvre des plans d'action nationaux sur les femmes, la paix et la sécurité adoptés par tous les États membres de la CEDEAO est essentiel pour la consolidation de la paix dans la région. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the peaceful conduct of elections in Liberia and the exemplary attitude of the incumbent administration are proof that constitutional transfer of power along constitutional requirements indeed remain the norm in the region. I would like to congratulate President George Weah and the people of Liberia for helping the cause of democracy in such a dignified fashion. Mr. President, the organization of an inclusive, credible, and peaceful process under your leadership and your decision to play by the rules to the very end confirm your status as a democrat and statesman. Excelências, minhas senhoras e meus senhores. Para terminar, desejo a esta Assembleia frutuosas deliberações durante a presente sessão. Aproveito a oportunidade de estarmos no fim do presente ano e permitam-me, excelências, chefes de Estado e de Governo, desejar a todos vós e aos povos da sub-região um Feliz Natal e um próspero Ano Novo de 2024. Muito obrigado pela atenção dispensada.
thank His Excellency, the Special Representative, for his kind remarks. J'ai maintenant le plaisir d'inviter l'honorable Bankole Adeyeye, commissaire aux affaires politiques et à la paix et la sécurité de la Commission de l'Union africaine, à prononcer le message de son Excellence Moussa Faki, président de la Commission de l'Union africaine. Merci.
Your Excellency, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Chair of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government. Excellencies, distinguished ECOWAS Heads of State and Government, Excellency, President of the ECOWAS Commission, the Special Representative of the United Nations Secretary General for West Africa and the Sahel, members of the Diplomatic Corps, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of His Excellency Moussa Faki Mahamat, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, I'm very pleased to express sincere gratitude to the ECOWAS Commission for inviting your union to address this important 64th ordinary session of the Authority of ECOWAS Heads of State and Government. The chairperson of the Commission salutes the strong, bold, and courageous leadership of the chair of the ECOWAS Authority, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Excellencies, you will agree with us in the African Union that the entire continent, the governance, peace, and security landscape, including West Africa, is going through a concerning period. The threats are pervasive and precarious, but the resolute determination of your leadership collectively inspires us. The security, the political challenges engulf the 5 regions of the Union. They adversely affect food security, economic fabric, and the climate-related risk. These challenges are beginning to have a bearing, distressingly, on the regional integration agenda for ECOWAS and the entire African Union. But we must come together. The message from the chairperson of the African Union Commission is that, excellencies, we must continue to work together. The proliferation of unconstitutional changes of government, the complex and endless, seemingly, political transitions must be collectively addressed. Joint action will be the most way forward, given that ECOWAS is also a first responder. Excellencies, Chairperson Moussa Faki has expressed the need to restate that the African Union stands in full solidarity and in unison with the people and governments of the ECOWAS region in finding durable solutions to the various challenges. ECOWAS must remain, as you stated, Excellency, Chair, ECOWAS must remain the hub for good governance, for effective governance, for peace dividends, and for democracy. We join others in saluting the leadership of His Excellency President George Weah in the historic elections that took place in Liberia. Excellencies, the African Union aligns with ECOWAS in the strategic direction for a community of shared interest, shared norms, and aspirations for peace, stability, and sustainable development. Constitutionalism, the rule of law, and respect for human and people's rights must be the pillars of a new, transforming continent. Chairperson Moussa Faki underscores three key critical messages for your august consideration. It is important that first, the commitment to invest more along with AU and ECOWAS to promote democracy, robust response, deepening democracy, and assuring collective security. Two message is that we must together intensify collaboration, coordination, consultation to address the prevalence of unconstitutional changes of government, terrorism, violent extremism. We must collaborate more to operationalize the African Standby Force. We must collaborate more and consult more to share intelligence against terrorists and violent extremists. It is important that joint action together will make a change for the better. The zero tolerance displayed by the ECOWAS leadership is exemplary and inspiring for the African Union to proudly also join ECOWAS in condemning, in the strongest terms possible, the phenomenon of unconstitutional changes of government. The third message, Excellencies, is the imperative that the integration agenda as the bedrock for sustaining peace and for sustainable developments must continue to be fundamental to all African leaders. It is important that the African Union and the Zone for Peace, for Free Trade, should be the way forward. Excellencies, permit me to conclude by stating clearly that the African Union looks forward to march together with ECOWAS at it clocks 50 years in 2025. The regional organization has been a pace-setter, and we salute the strategic direction and the leadership and vision for a better, stable, and peaceful continent. I thank you so much.
We thank His Excellency Ambassador Adeyoye for delivering the message of His Excellency Moussa Faki, Chairperson of the African Union Commission. Having heard this message, we have now come to the end of the opening ceremony. Authority will continue its deliberations in a closed-door format. The formula for this closed-door format is 1+4. To this end, we will ask our friends from the media, our distinguished invitees, Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, to redraw from the hall. We shall have our mediators, the African Union, and other partners present. The chairperson of the ETLS shall also remain in the hall. Thank you. Thank you. The ECOWAS resident reps will also remain in the hall. The heads of ECOWAS institutions, the honorable commissioners will also remain in the hall. Thank you. The presidents of the UMWA Commission also will participate in the closed-door session. Kindly leave your headsets on your seats Please leave your headsets on your seats.